See if it's coming through.
And then I need to send an email to all the people who are interested.
Yep. It is receiving content. And it says we are live. I'm not seeing anything yet. The internet can totally see you now. To stop using, use your... Testing, testing. Yeah, they're seeing us.
Okay.
All right, you're live
send
now.
This link out then.
Yeah, you can go ahead and stop streaming if you need to, but you should be able to just hit it and then do it again. All right, you're live now. Close that. Yeah. Close it. Okay. Oh, I hate the sound of my voice. All right. Good luck.
Thank you.
Godspeed. Get a sandwich.
Yeah, Godspeed, get a sandwich.
Well, I know you are in your Brian.
Yeah.
Okay, we met.
We've
Yes. Are we going to be able to stream this?
I'm sending the link out to the people now. Here's
And
the
so
link.
we have it so that the video they'll play will come through audio-wise. This guy's already running, and you should be good.
Cool. That's great. Thanks for sending that to me. That's right. I just found out about it.
And the link is sent out.
Do you have another laptop with you?
I was going to have to sprint back to the building and get it.
Go sprint back to the building and get it so that you can monitor the audio from the back.
Yeah. Your power cable.
Is it not in there?
No.
Is it in the back?
Is it?
All right. Plug that bar out. I have no idea where power strip is. You should be good. Let me know if anything comes up.
All right. Who is presenting first? So would that be Swiss Pearl then? Okay. Testing, testing. Testing, testing. All right, so you're all set up on here.
Perfect.
I'm going to sprint across the street and grab my laptop so I can kind of monitor things from the back.
Okay.
If you want to get started, that's totally up to you.
Yes, I think there's a guy that's before that has a little speak about some bond issue that's coming
okay.
up.
I'll
But I
leave
think you
this
can
up
leave
here
this on.
that-
And then I just click through it with the tab buttons.
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
And with the YouTube video, it should work.
Okay, I just
Perfectly,
clicked on
yeah.
it, and then when the next slide, when it's over, I just go to the next slide
Yes.
and go down. Wonderful.
Yep.
Thank you, sir.
No problem.
I'll have a brownie instead.
He's coming back, I think.
Okay, all right.
She was shocked that I had.
I also can't too. I don't know if there's already one here.
Oh, for us, it's, we're not usually in this
Yeah.
building. We're usually across the street, so that's why I'm a little, I guess, not as sure. Because I don't see. I wish I would have caught them before.
I know they were working on. Oh, here's this one guy. I know they were working on the streaming.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I saw that. Hey, were you able to get her thumb drive plugged in?
Oh, yeah.
And my question was, when it's time for me, are you going to be here during the meeting?
Yeah, I'm going to
run
be
it?
kind of monitoring
Okay.
things from back, making sure the live stream is working.
So will you pull up my PowerPoint or not?
I mean, you can just.
And so is there an expectation then that I stand right here?
I think honestly, as small as the crowd is, you could probably just stand
Okay.
up there and talk if you're okay with it. Oh, for the streaming. So yeah. we're streaming
But
it
the
so that
people that are picking up the streaming are not
they're
local
not
people.
they're not going to be.
And my presentation is
So there's 15 minutes we're going to do before the actual AIA course is going to be Carol here talking about the new
a local bond issue for
issue
Springfield.
that doesn't affect
Oh.
Joplin. So we don't need to worry about streaming their stuff or her for
Okay.
here in
Okay.
like 2 minutes
Yeah.
we'll start.
All right, so I mean, yeah, you can
Okay.
Uh,
take
and
the floor
here,
there.
I don't know if you already have a.
Oh yeah, that's
Oh.
your USB here.
Yeah, that's my USB for the PowerPoint.
Yeah, if you're okay, Carol,
Yeah.
once he gets it pulled up, we'll just go ahead and start. If you're okay.
Sure.
Just so
Overview presentation.
That is it. Don't know why it's named that, but
Okay. So you're opening, correct? Mm-hmm. Okay. Do you need something off of that USB or?
no, this is a.
Oh, a clicker.
clicker.
Okay, perfect.
I'm used to Prezi, but slideshow. Is that what you're wanting? Or
Yeah,
you didn't?
there we
Oh,
go.
all screen.
And
Yeah.
then let's get this hooked up.
I need to.
Okay.
Want another one?
Let me drag this to the desktop then.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you guys are good. I'll give it.
And hey, do you just want to briefly say that after the meeting is done, if they could just sign in on a sheet in the back?
Yeah.
We were trying to do the scanner this time around, but there's no good app for Android, so
Perfect.
is what it is. Low tech for the win.
All right, can I get everybody the attention?
Oh yeah, I've already got it.
We're gonna go ahead and get started with everything. We've got 2 presentations today. Well, actually, 3. Sign-in sheet is in the back, so make sure that before you leave that you sign in. We've got 2 different. We've got the AIA sign-in sheet, so you can get your AIA points, and then also we're doing the local chapters doing a sign-in to start, making sure that all the firms are represented. And I believe at the end of the year we're going to have a point system set up for everybody that
Good.
goes up. The firm that has the most points will get a prize. And I don't know if that's there'll be more details on that as the year goes on. But real quick, we're going to have Carol Embry here with Springfield Public Schools is going to talk about the upcoming bond issue. So we're happy to have her and Tim Rosenberry here to talk about what it entails and what to expect. And then hopefully, as an architecture chapter, we can get out and start talking to friends and family to make sure that they get out and vote. It's going to be very important for the community as a whole and for the architecture community for sure for this bond issue to go through. So happy to have Carol here. She's going to give a quick presentation, and then after that we've got Harry with Swiss Pearl that's going to be talking about fiber cement panels as well as Swiss Pearl products, of course, and then architectural design concepts will be given a quick presentation as well about some of their projects and applications, and I'll let Harry introduce the ADC team when we get to that point. So anyway, thanks everybody for coming. We appreciate you being here. Again, make sure you, between now and next, I guess, meeting, we'll have a bunch, so make sure you get out and talk to your friends and family. So with that, thank you guys.
Thank you very much. I apologize to those of you who may have heard this presentation before. I think there's maybe a few here in the room today. My name is Carol Embry. I'm the Chief Finance and Operations Officer for the Springfield School District. And to help you connect with me, within my area of responsibility is included construction management. So I've worked directly with Brian Saunders, our Director of Construction, and also Scott Wendt, who recently changed from being Executive Director of Operations to Director of Custodial Grounds. And so we've posted a position and have hired someone who will begin July 1. His name is Travis Shaw, and he will ultimately be engaging with those of you who interact with school business. So thank you for what you do in our community and for the qualities that you bring. So as we shared, I am here to provide you information about the Proposition SPS, which is on the April 4 ballot. And I hope, Harry, that people are as excited about Proposition SPS as I hear they are about Swiss Pearl. I've learned more about Swiss Pearl today than I ever knew. So with that, yes, Tim Rosenberry, our volunteer board member who has given his heart and soul and many, many volunteer hours to public education and the kids in our district. I appreciate him being here today as well. So I'll jump in, and if you don't know, this facility master plan process has been taking place for well over a year. The Board of Education knew that we needed to have a strategic plan for facilities management long term, and so we embarked on this facility master plan. And here are a few of the things that we learned. Before I start talking about that, though, I want you to know you have a feedback sheet before you. If you have any questions that aren't answered today and you'd like a specific email response, you can provide your email address. If you want to provide us general feedback with regard to what you're hearing in the community, we would love to hear from you. And also, if you have suggestions for how we can get the message out, we would like to hear that as well. So that's that document. You have before you a brochure that highlights some of the specifics that will be replicated in the presentation. And then also provided for you, if you want to stick this in your pocket and hand it to someone who may not know about Proposition SPS and tell them about it, we would appreciate your assistance in that as well. So the board identified early on that we had significant needs in the district. 78% of our schools were originally constructed more than 50 years ago. And there's another slide here. You can see here, this slide shows that 29% of our buildings are 80 years or older. 50 to 79 are 49% of our buildings are 50 to 79 years of age. 12% 20 to 49 years. 4% 10 to 19 years, and 6% less than 10 years. So the fun fact for you there is that 37% of the sites were constructed during the era of Harry S. Truman and Dwight D. Eisenhower. So that gives you some context about the structures that we're dealing with. Now that doesn't mean, I've heard Tim say, this building has good bones. So I know that they can still be great buildings, but there are many opportunities for improvement regarding meeting the needs of a learner in today's world. So The board hired MGT of America. This is a firm that has conducted over 7,000 analyses of school districts and other public institutions throughout not only the United States, but internationally as well. And they came in and brought with them experts. They brought architects and engineers and educational professionals who assessed and scored our facilities using a four-pronged approach. They looked at building condition, site condition, technology readiness, and educational suitability. They then also conducted and facilitated public engagement opportunities, and some of you may have participated in those, where you could vote with a clicker and provide feedback through the process. They also conducted an online survey at that time, and they developed for the board to consider two options. One was labeled maintain current grade configuration, and the other one was labeled elementary, middle school combined campus, just for differentiation. So what they did when they developed these assessments is they applied a 100-point scale, and they attributed 50 points to the building condition, and that's the physical structure, the deferred maintenance of buildings, the primary work that would take place with major systems. Educational suitability was attributed 40 points on the 100-point scale, and that's how does it meet the needs of our educational programs and today's learner. Site condition is all about the external grounds and parking lots and play spaces, that kind of thing. And technology readiness is not about devices in hands. It's about the infrastructure that processes the network, that type of thing. So each building was then provided a combined score, and based on these factors, this is how we scored. 43% of our buildings were identified as unsatisfactory or poor, so they scored less than 70%. In the fair category, 41% of our buildings. And in the good or excellent category, 16% of our buildings. I will tell you that the MGT people shared that this may be one of the worst situations that they've encountered in terms of scoring buildings. So what did we do? The Board of Education was committed to seeking additional community input, not doing this in isolation, but ensuring that we had all of the stakeholders in the community who would be willing to partner with us to provide additional information. So we hosted 15 public meetings, we hosted 15 staff meetings. We sought additional online surveys, and we had 2,700 responses to that. We had the review of the facility assessments, and also MGT conducted demographic data analysis. And what we learned from that is that the good news is that Springfield Public Schools is not declining in enrollment, but we're relatively flat, only about a 4% increase or 1,000 students over the next 12 years. That's very easily managed with regard to any new construction needs. And if you don't know it, Springfield Public Schools is the largest school district in the state of Missouri at 25,000 students. And we used to say we were the largest accredited, but we're just the largest, whether accredited or not, for other districts. So multiple discussions at public board meetings were conducted. Basically, we joke that I'm not showing up at the podium anymore to provide a presentation, because twice a month the Board of Education meets, and there are videos and other documentation posted online for anyone to read or view with regard to this entire process that was conducted. So results of the facility master plan then defined a common vision for us to create these quality learning environments for our students and address the critical facility improvements that are needed. And we believe that this is an investment in our community and in our public education system like none other, and very definitely will assist us in attracting and retaining quality people to work in the schools, and also quality students, or students in general. The parents are only going to want their children to participate in public education facilities where their needs are being met. So retaining all those kids. So here's the final product. This was adopted by the Board of Education at the December 2016 meeting. Again, this was in excess of a year-long process that occurred in reviewing and discussing and identifying the next steps. This resulted in a two-phase facility master plan that would be enacted over the next 12 years with a total of 40 projects. Through that process, 22 schools currently rated as unsatisfactory or poor would be improved through reconstruction and of 7 elementary and 4 middle, and then also renovations, upgrades, and additions at 8 additional campuses. 21 schools that are rated fair would also be upgraded to through the renovations and upgrades. And what happened with that is the board recognized that over this 12-year period of time, if we conducted another facility assessment, the buildings that were rated fair would now be the poor buildings. So how do we make sure that we don't lose our traction in moving forward? Also identified as a priority of our community and the Board of Education is the addition of 600 seats for preschool students. We know that if we catch those kids at a young age, they do better in school all the way. And so this would provide for those additional seats in the schools. Also through this process, 4 schools will be closed over the next 12 years: Bowerman, Campbell, Delaware, and York. This slide shows you guiding principles that the Board of Education developed during a retreat and other discussion opportunities. There are 10 of them. I won't go into each of them, but if you go online and check out the this presentation, you can see that, for instance, schools as community centers. It's important that we make sure that these schools are serving our students before and after school, providing wraparound services for kids. For instance, you may be familiar that Boys and Girls Club has a facility right there at Sherwood Elementary. So there are partnerships and collaborative opportunities where we can provide for the whole student through this building process and allow for that. Another one is neighborhood schools. We believe that it's important that these schools be constructed as close as possible within their current attendance boundary lines. And another one I'll highlight for you would be class size. There is no intention that the facility master plan work would cause individual class sizes to increase. They will shift to different sites potentially, but not to increase. So again, the guiding principles were also developed with the intention of sustainability. The Board of Education, typically that term of service is 3 years, so regardless of how changes would occur within the board or changes within administration, these are the guiding principles that will guide this continuing work. So delivering the plan, the board also directed that we would have an independent survey of taxpayers, and these questions were asked: what are your highest priorities in the areas of facility improvement? How satisfied are you with the work that SPS is doing to provide quality education for students? And will you support the delivery of the facility master plan through an upcoming tax increase? With regard to the highest priority, the responses indicated: address the greatest needs first. Secondly, maintain fiscal responsibility. And lastly, program equity. And I will tell you, program equity has been a constant theme all the way through the survey results from our constituents in the community. Satisfaction with SPS, we're very pleased. This is a common question that's asked whenever we are faced with an upcoming bond issue. In 2014, the question was posed, and now again in 2016, and we see a growth from 68% in 2014 to 77% with regard to how satisfied are you with the work that SPS is doing. With regard to support of the annual tax increase, the information we provided indicates that if you own a $100,000 market value home, the annual tax increase would be $46, or approximately $4 a month. And that is after being fully phased in, and you'll see that part of this is a 2-year phase-in. 65% at the time of this survey indicated that they would favor an annual tax increase, and 30% indicated at that time that they would oppose. So encouraged by the community support and the conversations that were taking place through a variety of discussions and meetings, the Board of Education voted on January 10th to place a $189 million bond issue on the April 4 ballot. If you aren't registered to vote, today happens to be the last day to register to vote in our community. This would address phase 1 of this two-phased approach. The average, an increase of 24 cents would be anticipated based on current data, and it will require a 57.14% vote for affirming that. And the increase would, again, be phased in over 2 years. So the first year would be a 12-cent increase, and then the second year would move on up to the 24 cents. So this addresses some of the most critical facility needs. It focuses on larger projects that have the greatest student impact while balancing construction. That was part of the focus in designing, well, what goes on phase 1, what goes on phase 2. It provides improvements reaching all grade levels and multiple feeders, and it balances projects with regard to where we would need to house students, because we'll need to continue to educate our students throughout the construction period. It balances the work to be completed in multiple phases as well. This is a list of the project sites and the amount attributed to each of them, and that's also in your brochure. Impact on taxpayers. This information is included because we've had people ask about assessed valuation and tax levies and how we relate to other districts. So we are very blessed in this community, and you know it better than me. We have an excess of $3.4 billion in assessed valuation. To provide you context, I worked in a district previously that had half the population of Springfield Public Schools, exactly, it was 12,500, and a fourth of the assessed valuation for local support had hardly any commercial property at all. It's mostly a bedroom community, so more kids meant more residences, but more kids to educate. This slide is a summary of a plethora of information that was provided during the presentation to the Board of Education on assessed valuation data and averages, and again highlighting the $46 a year increase for a residence owner of a $100,000 market value home. If you have commercial property valued at an average of $500,000, that would be an annual increase of $384. The other information shows you the number of parcels within our community. This slide here indicates the tax levy comparison. So our regional and statewide peers were identified to take a look at our debt service levy. So the operating levy takes care of people and things like supplies, food for the kitchens, and fuel for the buses, but the debt service levy is what pays the principal and interest on any debt that the district would take on. And you can see that the debt service levy for Springfield Public Schools is 55 cents, and as compared to all of these peers indicated, that's ranking 13 out of 13. You might wonder though, well, how do we compare on the dollars generated per child? Because that's really what matters. And you can see that in that instance, we rank 10th out of 13. We are $754 per child as compared to our peers. So why now? Every student deserves a quality learning environment. The work environment impacts ability to attract and retain. I mentioned that before, that this changes the game in terms of receiving in quality teachers and other support staffs. We must be in a position to compete. If you don't know it, there is legislative action taking place today. A vote is taking place today that would affect the decision on charter schools. It's House Bill 634. And we believe that everyone has a right to choose. We believe if you want to homeschool or send your children to a parochial school or send them to public education, that is anyone's preference. But what we don't believe in is inconsistent accountability rules applied in each of those scenarios, or especially relative to the charter impact. They're not held accountable the way public ed is held accountable, and the kicker here is that they will take public education dollars. And you know what that does? It places the burden then on the local patrons of the district to support, because the overhead stays consistent through that. So very important action today. So you'll be reading more about that, I'm sure, in the paper coming up or online. Investment in schools is investment in neighborhoods. We believe that this is a game changer for this community. It is an investment in the neighborhoods and the community at large, from a workforce development perspective included. And then high value for taxpayers. Current low interest rates provide opportunities to deliver even better value for each dollar. So this is the website that's also included in your brochure and on that business card that you were provided. And we'll take some questions. One thing that I thought that might be important to this group is the question pertaining to, are we going to utilize local businesses, local firms to deliver the work? And also a question has come up regarding how will you handle that work? Will you hire a construction management firm? What will you do? All of that is to be decided. What we know is we had some internal bond positions on staff, and those projects came to a close, and so those positions came to a close. But we believe that we will need to hire a director of bond management, and that would happen right away. That person, working collaboratively with administration and Board of Education, would then make a recommendation to the board to determine those next steps for how to structure this. We won't do that in isolation. We will be counting on people in this community who have the expertise to help guide us and direct us on best choices for that. We want to hire local. We also have requirements from Missouri statute that set the rules in terms of how public education must do business. So we want it to be competitive, but we absolutely would have a desire that we would be hiring our local partners in the work. I say this most every opportunity I have, most every time I have an opportunity, because this is my 25th year in public education, and I've never encountered a community like this community. The partnership, the attention of the heart to do good things for other people. And so for those of you who've been here forever, or those of you who've been here a short period of time, count it among your blessings, because it truly is a very different place to be and work. So what questions might you have for me? I'll do my best to answer them, but
This is county-wise or just city?
this would be anyone affected by the Springfield School District. So
So we get to vote if we're not in the city, we're just outside?
if you're part of the Springfield School District zone, yes.
You get to vote, Michael.
Yes.
I know where you live.
Okay.
I've been to your house.
No, I know because the kids, I remember my
Yeah.
kids were grown,
Right.
moved here, but the kids around, they go to the
Sure.
Springfield School Districts, because a lot of times there's city things that we don't get to vote, but
Oh, yeah.
we get to pay the tax.
You get to vote. You get to vote. So this will show up April 4 on the ballot as Proposition SPS. Any other questions?
Well, there's a lot of ground to cover today, in today's meeting,
Yes.
and so Carol's job as a district official, employee of the district, is to give you the facts. My job as a volunteer in the district, and especially to this crowd, is to gin you up, is to get you, is to encourage you, and to sell this thing to you all. When you look at $190 million worth of construction to this group, it's pretty easy to say, oh, well, that's about $12 million in business, a book of business for the community, for this community right here. And we are eager to get this going. The other thing that's interesting about this bond issue is that this is only for the first phase. We would be coming back in about 6 years, asking for the second phase of this.
No, I think you will
and what's
actually
great
have
about
to
that
come and
is
click on the
all
video.
preliminary
I don't think
projections
it'll
show
work using the
that
clicks, but
the next
otherwise
time
it
we
should
come
be
back,
good.
it would be a no tax increase. And so we would be able to, over 12 years, tear the Band-Aid off and finally address these long-standing facility issues that we've had for decades, literally. And so this is our chance to do it. That's good for Springfield Public Schools. And I think it's good, but I think it's even better for the community overall, because schools and communities have a close identification. And I can assure you that the board in its current configuration is totally committed to that, totally committed to the schools being part of this community. I can also share with you that this administration, the top level leadership of which has been here less than 3 years, is moving at a very fast speed to raise the quality of the district. And they identify part of raising the quality of the district is of raising the quality of our facilities. If you've not been to see the auditorium and commons area at Kickapoo, go out and see that as a benchmark of a minimum standard of what we want to accomplish in our high schools. If you want to see what we want to do in our elementary schools, go over to Fremont Elementary School on the north side and see the kind of innovative learning environment that's going to be. See how energizing that is. This is a real opportunity to transform our community in a big way. The only way it's going to work is if you get out to vote and you tell 3 of your best friends to vote as well. The poll numbers look good, but they really depend on getting the yes vote out. And there's going to be a lot of noise associated with this upcoming vote, because it's also city council election, which you don't get to vote for, Michael. but there's going to be a lot of noise about that. And city council, this is a big election for city council, but the long game, the long play is this proposal right here. This has the opportunity to transform our community in a big way. So I encourage you, I plead with you to vote and take 2 or 3 voters with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Carol. Well, just as he mentioned the Fremont School, so if you guys head over there, the entryway of the Fremont School actually has Swiss Pearl on it. So that was a perfect lead-in. Thank you very much. Well, I'm Harry Harrisberger. I'm with Swiss Pearl. We're a fiber cement manufacturer in Switzerland. I'm representing the manufacturer. I'm originally from Switzerland as well. I have here Maddie Davis, which is with George Davis and Associates, who is my distributor for Missouri, Kansas, Iowa, and Nebraska. And then additionally, I have Architectural Design Concepts here out of Springfield, who is a fabricator for Swiss Pearl, also doing shop drawing, subframe system, etc. They've done quite a few projects here in the Springfield area. They're also a distributor for Swiss Pearl for Arkansas, Oklahoma, and Tennessee. Now we're going to start this with a little movie here. As much as probably most of you guys would like to be skiing in Switzerland right now, oops, I don't know what happened here. How do we get back here? There you go. So, Swiss Pearl, as it says, we're manufactured in Switzerland. We've done numerous projects here in the Springfield area. I got Tracy here actually worked with us on a sponsorship program for the school. We got some other projects here locally that we'll get later in it. We're a company that was actually founded in 1894 in Austria. About 8 years ago, we bought the founding company, and now we're Swiss Pearl. We started in 1903 in Switzerland. We're to this date still at the same location as the original factory. Grew a little bit. Obviously, we changed quite a few things. We acquired another factory in the French-speaking part of Switzerland. Changed some ingredients out of the Swiss Pearl panels back. There was the little known fiber asbestos in there. We're asbestos-free since the late 70s. And then in 2000, we started the export to actually go worldwide. Our main business is the home market, Switzerland and Austria, but we're starting to chip away on that to get the export market bigger and growing and getting an extra chair on the table and at the factory. Eternit is our brand name in Switzerland. In the export, we changed it to Swiss Pearl. Here you can see that the company we took over, and now we're actually the Swiss Pearl Group. We have, we have 6 factories right now that we make fiber cement. They're all in Europe. None of them, unfortunately, in the USA, but hopefully with enough business we can change that. This is, on the top left is actually the founder of fiber cement. Even my competition, most of fiber cement, the way it's produced is with the same patent coming out of the same guy that we purchased the factory about 8-9 years ago. The methods change a little bit, but the raw material of the product is fairly similar. We also make furniture, but mostly in our case, especially in the North American market, it's large format size panels. We do have some small formats, and we'll see some pictures later on of that too. We're sustainable, and we have solution and innovations for different buildings, different designs. And that can go from I always call it the once-in-a-lifetime projects, where we have a project in Denver where we did the Botanical Garden, the Science Center, which are hexagon-shaped panels. It's once in a lifetime to work with that, but then we also do public school, low-income housing, so it's not just one-off great projects where you may get, every 10 years a project. So this project here is actually a student learning center in the Seattle area, where the architect and the manufacturer of the subframe system worked with us to kind of create that fish scale look. The panels also go back into the inside. It's about 9 years old, and the colors are about as bright as it is on that picture right now. Fantastic project. Here you can kind of see different styles of our factory, how it's manufactured. On the top left, we have outside walls where we put different colors, different shapes to do real-time weather testing in Switzerland. And we have about 12 of those facilities all around the world. From Dubai, there's some in Arizona, Norway, Greenland, and Switzerland, obviously. We also make furniture. We have a furniture line and flower pot lines out of the same product. It's very formable in the soft stage. And I'd be happy to give you information on that too. It's more of a side business, but very popular in Europe. Here you see the little part of Switzerland where Eternit and Switzerland is coming from, but we serve the whole world in the export market with different distribution partners like George Davis and like Architectural Design Concepts. Our locations, just to kind of give you an idea, it's very heavily, obviously, Europe, but hopefully we can change that over the next couple of years. Fiber cement. Anybody know anything about fiber cement or work with? No, Tracy has. So we care about quality. For us, quality, we want that your building looks in 10, 15, 20 years the same as it did on day one when you designed it and when you had the idea. Here are some examples of not so good fiber cement where you see water absorption when it rains. We all know if water gets into a product, it's not going to be long lasting. It's going to change in color, it's going to leave pigments, etc. left. This project was actually installed in 2012 in Denver, Colorado. So very new. I was just actually there and saw this project about 6 months ago, not even. You can see the lines here on the top left, top right, where the water just stays in it. Even if it dries out, you'll have those marks. Top left is a project that I just saw in Portland. It rained that day, which is not really unusual, but you can kind of see how much water a panel actually absorbs if it's not the right quality. Here's one. I'm always getting in trouble with this picture here because some architects actually love if a building looks like that. That is not intentional, so it's supposed to be just a black panel. Here it shows the efflorescence, the color fading of a product that is unsealed, that has a porous surface, and that's what it looks like in 2 years. Now, some people, they like that, and I always say, it's like, that's great. I'm sorry, I can't help you. Technically I can make that product, but then how do I differentiate myself? Do I have a product here that looks like this in 2 years, and then at the same time I'm calling about color fast and everything? So I'd rather go the color fast route that we've been doing for the last 15, 20 years. Same here, you can see, well, you can't really see it in that picture, but the left one is my competition, the right one is me, and those towers were built at the same time. And it's in Slovenia, and you'll see how bright our color is, which is a great example for us. We go there every year and just monitor it because their buildings are literally sitting right next to each other. And that's where we came in and just say, look, we want to be the ones that have the bright colors that you guys wanted to design and work with. And in the end, for the owner of the building. Same here, we'll see subframing behind it. You know, in the mock-up, you never see that. After half a year, you'll see a building like this. You won't have that with Swiss Pro. High performance fiber cement, that's the lead in. Our product itself has over 75% of Portland cement. Portland cement is expensive. It also makes it heavy. You can see what the rest we have in it. If you look at some of our competitors, you'll be probably at 35 to 40% of Portland cement, which makes the product lighter, but then you've got to make up the difference, and most difference is made up with cellulose. Cellulose, if it gets wet, it absorbs moisture, and we have those problems of unstable colors. This recipe here changes on and off a little bit. Depending on the cellulose, and also the plastic fibers is actually what replaced the asbestos back in the 70s to give the panel actually its strength. Our production, and that's where it goes into the pearl. We all know how a pearl is made. We all know how paper is made. So it's pretty much a fiber cement liquid pulp, and we have rollers, as you can see there to the top right. And those rollers will pick up material in a slurry underneath in a tank and layer it like a pearl to get to the thickness of 8 millimeter or 12 millimeter. And then they go on a conveyor belt, they get cut, and then they get air dried on a sheet for 28 days. 28 days, as most of you know, is an initial concrete curing period. Our products are always air dried. We don't put them in an oven and burn them like a brick to fasten the process, because once you do that, you get a more brittle, a product that will absorb more water because of pretty much the shock drying. I usually don't like to name my competition by name, but I guess the slide is in here, so it's a little open there. But you can see the Portland cement side. Especially this product here, which is originally came from the same patent as we were. This product here is called autoclave, so it gets dried in an oven. If it goes in an oven, they have to have a different recipe for manufacturing it, because otherwise some of the fibers will burn off. The oven burns about at 1200 degrees. So that's you getting a product that is more brittle, it's dried faster, it's cheaper, but there's also significant quality differences. Here we kind of have a nice little animation how the process actually works. The sluice is down here, the rollers pick it up, it goes through it, a foaming roller, and then it gets to that thickness and it automatically cuts. So it's fairly simple, and it's quite interesting to see it at the factory too. And that's, in this form, the material is almost kind of like a Play-Doh, and that's why we also can make furniture and flower pots, because we actually can form it, we can put it in molds and have it dry dead. Mostly, what we do is in the North American, or almost exclusively in the export market, we have large panels. So our panels are a 4x8 or a 4x10. 4x10 is the biggest size we can manufacture. And then we have different finishes, and we'll see them later. What the beauty of it is, you can take panel sizes, if you look here, and may have a 3 foot wide panel, and then use the 1 foot offset to get a different area, so you don't have a panel waste because of our sizes. So you can, the main thing for especially you guys as architects is to design within that 4x8, 4x10. If you want a 3 foot, 2 inch panel layout, we'll throw away 10 inches. And those 10 inches, you have to pay for it, which the price then goes up. If we can work with 3 in 1 or 2 in 2, that will help you tremendously with cost savings on the cladding. And all my partners in the US are more than happy to look at your layout and say, hey, you know what, if you shrink this down 2 or 3 inches, we can save you so much more on the building, because we all know we're fighting different competitions in my side, and then you guys fight, budgets and everything from the owners. But there's clever ways we can be more than happy to assist you. We can also cut them. We have a slat form. This project is actually in Montana, and we cut a full panel and we cut it in stripes. You can order it by a crate, so it kind of takes the design work out of your hand of what format. We have the formats laid out. You buy a whole crate, it goes to the job site, drill the holes, put it on the building. Very efficient, very quick, already sort of pre-manufactured, so to speak. We have a overlapped one, so this, I call it like the Pacific Northwest look, where you overlap the panel. We also have 2 different sizes in that. They come standard. You drill the hole underneath it on the site, depending on your subframe layout, and then the next one goes over. I personally actually installing right now my house in this style here in just west of St. Louis. Very effective way. The reason why we're leaving off the holes drilled is because in Switzerland we sell them with the holes drilled, but it's all according to Swiss subframe sizes, and then you come to the States and it's like, well, we're 16 inches on center, but the holes are 12. It's like, oh, okay, well, that didn't work out. So we sell them in just slats. Our fabricators with ADC here in Springfield, they can drill the holes in their CNC machine, or you can drill them on site with, we provide drill bits and a screw gun. So there's no special tools or anything needed to cut or drill our panels. And Tracy has experience with that too. So they cut quite a few of them when we built you guys' building.
It'll turn out perfect.
Wonderful. We can do interior. There we have different options. Interior, you don't need to go face fastens. You can actually use an adhesive. In theory, you can use it on the outside as well. The issue comes, no adhesive manufacturer, European or US, will give you a warranty. Because of the different climate changes, they just don't know how long it's going to hold up. If you're doing it in a warehouse where it's controlled, there might be a chance. So that's why we say outside, it's face fastened, or we have a concealed system, and I'll explain that later. But on the interior, it's a whole different scenario, because we don't have all the weather issues and heat and cold issues. And the full range can be used. We also can go on the roof. This building here has the same large size panel that goes on the roof. They can be lapped, or they can be open joint rain screens, kind of like you have on the facade, bring it on the roof. All you have to do is get the water behind it in a, almost kind of like a concealed guttering system. I'm installing a roof at my house that is similar to this, but they're actually lapped, but they're big 4x8 sheets that are lapped on the whole house. My wife didn't really have a choice of selecting cladding or roofing material, so kind of took that out of her. And the floor, by the way, too. So, colors. So we have a very, very large amount of colors. Mostly, and this is kind of like the quick version of it. If we look at the red colors, all of our red colors are colored through. And please come down here before you leave is, so all our red, internally it's the same red, but externally I can go with different shades of red. So I call it always, there's always the host. So in the red it's the 70-30, which is the host, which means the red in here is the same red on the surface. And then I can go a tone lighter, a tone darker with standard colors that we have, or I can go custom colors. So if you have, I'm working on a project for Target. Target wanted their custom red as a corporate logo. We used our red core. We put a custom color of theirs on the surface, and it goes on a small store that's actually in Georgia's territory right now. It's getting installed in probably about a month or two. We have a color line, it's called the Avera, which is more of a natural look, so you can kind of see, pictures are a little off here, with, you can see the fiber, so it looks a very natural, very normal look, and it should almost mimic a little bit of a texture. We don't have a textured or a 3D panel or large waves in it due to our manufacturing process. But this, as you're stepping back, it kind of gives you almost a 3D vision of the panels. Then reflex is a very popular color for us. It's almost mimicking a metal look. So as the sun hits it, it kind of changes the appearance of it. We have a beautiful project, and I think there's a slide later. It's right across the Beverly Hills Post Office in LA, that if you go in the bright sun, it's almost orange, and if you go on the back side of the building, it's like a dark red. It's very, very beautiful, and you can play with that quite well. We have a main line that is just a gray core, so it's not colored through, and then it has a surface coating that's translucent, and that's from a price point here a little bit cheaper because there is no color pigment in the panel itself. So it's a gray base sheet, Portland cement gray, and then a translucent coating or a fully opaque coating where we can do very, very bright colors with it. All our colors, so the most colors is the carrot line that I showed first. They're all the same price. Doesn't matter if you have yellow, black, green, or red. The ones on the gray core are about 15% cheaper, and the reflex and the Avera is a little bit more expensive because of the color pigments and the technology. But we're talking, I mean, we're within, I would say, 5 to 15% range of pricing of our main line. So even on the design phase, there's a lot of things we can be very active and work with you to kind of keep a very even playing field for your building, but we'll have so many options to make the building more interesting than just having a plain Jane white metal panel, for example. Sorry for the guys that have metal panels. Custom colors. Very popular, mostly used for accent pieces. Bring me a color swatch from whatever you have, and within 10 days we have a physical sample on our fiber cement in your office. All I need to know if you want a solid finish or a translucent finish, and what if you want a colored through or a gray core, and we'll color it out and we'll ship it to you. I've done numerous jobs. I'm working on a big hotel in Chicago right now where they brought me literally a piece of jeans, and I'm like, okay, well, I need a little bit more than a piece of jeans. So they found at Home Depot their glue that they wanted, shipped it to me, we matched it, and DLR, the architect, is as happy as it's going to get. So we'd be more than happy to do that, and there's no upcharge for you guys to make custom colors. So perforations. Anybody went to know where the Welcome Center is for Missouri State University? It's actually in this lovely magazine here. So we did a lot of perforations and engravings on that building. That's this lovely building here. What I need, as you can see here, this is the church. Get me your design. There is some limitations on how much I can drill out of a panel to not damage the structural integrity of it. But if you send me your layout, our technical service will look at it and says, you need to shrink the holes a little bit, or we can make it a little bigger, or you need to move the fasteners. And we'll be very, very happy to work with you early on before it's too late and then we need to change the design and have you guys waste a lot of time and money on it. It's becoming very popular for numerous reasons. You can see the light exchange. You can put in, here that's actually on the front page of that project. It's a corporate gas company in Portugal where they put their logo in the facade. They also have their names engraved in it with the logos. Here we can just see the light exchange, and then you can't see it on that building, but if you go very close, on this side we have engravings in it. So we round out about 2 millimeters off the panel in the same circles. White on white is a little hard to see, but we can do it on a gray and on a red, so it really sticks out. And I believe there's a picture of that. Oh, you can see it here a little bit. So we did that as well. Again, that was in great collaboration with both of you guys, because you guys did the install, and George Davis was the distributor for that project. So I encourage you guys to drive by. It looks phenomenal, day and night. Here you can kind of see the engravings a little bit, so we can do corporate lettering on color, or we can do it Joplin High School. That's their Eagle logo. That's 100 panels that are on a gray core, red base sheet, and we perforated all this out, and it got installed in the gym wall. So not a cheap undertaking, but it surely does a statement. There's also quite a bit of Swiss Pro on the outside of that high school, and for you guys that have never been down there, I think it's probably one of the biggest high schools I've ever seen. I mean, it's crazy. We can coat on both sides of the panels. You can make louvers. You can also perforate them. We have projects in Switzerland where you can move them as sunshades on a track for their windows and move them back into the facade and everything. So there's a lot of things we can work with and you can do with fiber cement. Here you can kind of see, this is actually a bus station in Slovenia. You see the perforations, and you barely can see it. Those sun louvers, they're also perforated all around the whole building. I wonder if, nope. We've done a parking garage at Sunset Bronson in LA where they take louvers out to dress up a ugly building. Parking garages, there's not that much you can do with. So they put our panels 10 foot long and just had them out in a diagonal on the fins, and they use the reflex and 2 different colors of reflex blue, and as the sun hits it, I mean, it looks really cool for a parking garage. Custom tailored building envelopes. So the texture question comes up all the time. It's very hard for us to do because of the thickness of the material. So we hired and worked with University of Vienna in Austria, and we came up with some panels. So those panels are all hand formed. 6 of them make the pattern. So it's very, very unique, and this is the best example. This is actually a small little convenience store, so it's not like some high-class office or anything. It's a convenience store, and you can kind of get that facade out of it. Now, wind loads and everything, there is not much there. So each panel has 9 fasteners, and they're pre-given on the flat sides. So it's very hard to design it, but we have it. Costs about $39 a square foot, roughly. So it's very expensive, and this is material cost, and then you gotta get here and everything, so you're pretty pricey. But it's, we can do it. We can also do custom molds, but then again, we have to make the mold and everything, so it kind of gets a little pricier. Here you can kind of see the panels, how they get together, so you always get a very repetitive look. They broke it up in cutting the facades a little bit in half to get to kind of break up that regular square pattern. Here you can see, so they're taking the wet fiber cement, so to speak, out and then hand form it in fiberglass molds, and that's literally gets pressed in, kind of what we do with our furniture line, and then we kind of come up with fairly unique shapes, but there's always the same waves, so to speak. Now I'd like to just go over a couple of projects that we have that I think are interesting. Single family homes, they can be very exclusive, very dynamic. As you can see here, this one is one of my favorite houses. It's actually from an architect and won the Gold Award in Canada. It's on Vancouver Island. There's a small office in it from the architect, so it's his office building now, but it's really his private house on the island. Very, very cool. This is a single family residence in northern Italy. Corporate headquarters for a company in Sweden. This we saw on the magazine where we can really see the perforations. This one here we did a university, and you can see also the perforations, and then going back into the slat system, also used as a fence. We have a couple fences. There's one down in Nashville that looks really cool with different colors. This one is perforated, and in a subway station or a train station, we had to lower the panels through a shaft vertically down, and then they got attached. It also helps with the sound absorption in the tunnel itself. That one we're familiar with. Here we have, again, 3 different colors, different sizes, going up onto a mid-rise building to, make it very attractive color-wise. This is one of my favorite buildings, and it's kind of odd because Morphosis designed the building that it would look like after an earthquake in LA, which is a little bit of, but once you go there, it's over 10 years old now. We're just replacing 2 panels because the dump truck driver didn't make the corner, so we got to replace them, and we sent the panels out. And the same color as they ordered, we put on the building, and you can't notice that there were 10 years in difference. And we didn't make a special custom match or anything. We took the stock colors out, we coated it, sent it out, they put it up, and you wouldn't even know where it's at. Here you can kind of see a little bit more of the design, what goes on behind it with the details on that project. Joplin High School, the eagle is on the inside of those louvers, and then on the outside we have Swiss Pearl here. Everything that's red is Swiss Pearl. The gray is metal and corrugated panels. Very large job. Here you can kind of see the perforations that we took out. A couple of custom colors, and then the eagle on the inside of the gym wall. Again, what we can do with cutouts off the panel to do perforations to kind of show a corporate logo, incorporate that into facade. Playing with colors on this is actually from a kindergarten, a study hall. Fairly normal fire stations. Here again, this could have been any material. The owner, the city, they wanted to have low maintenance, easy change of panels. So the panels are face fastened with a rivet. Any maintenance guy can take a screwdriver and a screw gun, drill the rivet out, cut a new panel, put a new rivet in, and it's done. So there's no special tools needed or anything. We all know they're high. There's a risk that they get damages. Police stations get vandalized. So very easy to replace panels. They're very durable. Mid Towers in Sarajevo, a hotel. We've done a couple of hotels recently in the U.S. as well. Again, the owners are interested in the longevity and the life cycle of Swiss Pearl. Interiors, we've done numerous corporate offices to do the interior. Also a lot of them where they bring the facade back into the building, so it's kind of like a seamless transition from the outside to the inside. Larger hospitals. This one we just finished, the Mall of America up in Minnesota. That's about 120,000 square feet of Swiss Pearl. That's a Marriott hotel, the office tower, and then below it's the retail. We did custom reflex colors and then some standard reflex colors. There's some metal panels, obviously some glass on it. And it just got installed late last year. This is the project I mentioned earlier where the color changes. This is all done with reflex. Very interesting design because the panels actually have almost a 90% yield or even higher because they use the same panel here, they can use the other one there. I asked the architect why they have so many big gaps, and his first answer was like, I run out of money, so I couldn't flat the whole building. But I think it was more intentionally to kind of show what it would look like. And it's very unique because right across the street is the old Beverly Hills post office, and then you see that modern, the modern hall next to it. Here you can kind of see how they work with the levers too and the subframe. This one I mentioned earlier, this is the Botanical Garden. It's actually a kids science center. We cut all those panels in Switzerland, so 2 of those shaped panels come out of a 4x8 sheet. Some of them actually the first panels got attached with GPS coordinates, so they would have all those angles right. and then they made a jig out of plywood to get the gaps all the way around it. I was actually in Denver last summer, and my wife and daughter went there, and my daughter walks in, and there's those young college students working there, and she ran up to them and was like, yeah, this is my daddy's building. And I'm like, okay, but she educated them. It's a very, very, well, first of all, the garden is fantastic, and the building just shines. It shows money wasn't the subject on here. I mean, everything on this project cost a lot of money, from my panel to the subframe system, installation, design, and everything. But it's clearly a showcase for the garden. Here's the project I mentioned earlier, where we did the fish scale overlap look. So you can really go, as you can see from the last couple of slides, from a flat 4x10 sheets. There's so many options you can design your facade. Now I'm just going to touch briefly what we can do with our garden line. Flower pots, from square pots to round pots, custom designs, sizes, standard colors, special colors. We can do pretty much anything. And I'd be happy to give you a link. We have furniture lines, wine racks. I mean, it's endless. They're not the cheapest, so you're probably never going to find them at Walmart or Home Depot, but it's truly unique. If you ever go to ADC's showroom, they have a couple of the flower pots there, some chairs there. At our big AIA show in Orlando this year, you'll see some flower pots and furniture as well. Go one back. Yeah, so that's, oops, go the wrong way here. Apologize. So, George Davis and Associates. Maddie can maybe speak a few things. They're my distributors for a number of years now with the Swiss Per line, but they also have other lines. So, Maddie?
Yeah, I'm Maddie. I'm speaking on George's behalf. He couldn't make it, but we are out of Kansas City. We cover Nebraska, Iowa, and then St. Louis and Springfield. Obviously, Kansas City. But we have about 20 lines or so, both interior and exterior. I handle most of the interior products, while he handles the exterior. But yeah, he has Swiss Pearl, Millennium forms, which they'll talk about up there, and then Jardin Zinc. And we also do Benheim clipped glass, rain screen, and their channel glass. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Nelson Atkins in Kansas City. That's all Benheim's channel glass. And then we have terracotta line, architectural metals. And then my interior line is actually local, ACGI Wood. You guys are familiar with that at all? They're in Marshfield, Missouri. So, but yeah, our website's on my card that I've handed out, so if you guys want to take a look at other materials we rep, it's all on there.
And if you reach out to me, I'll be, if it's for this area, I'll connect you with the distributor. Even if you have a project that's out of state, you can come to me and I can connect you with the local distributor that has those territories assigned. Architectural design concept, Brian and Brendan, they've been working with Swiss Pearl for a year now as distributors, but they also fabricated quite a few Joplin and everything. They have CNC's outfit, they do subframe system, etc. They can speak for themselves on a few things, and then we'll have a little bit of a Q&A, but I'll leave that up to you for the presentation. And thank you very much, everybody. And my card is there. Everything is online as well, and if you need samples, I'll connect you with George. You can get the samples out, or if you need other literature or whatnot, just contact me directly, and I'll be happy to assist wherever I can. Thank you.
I have to go to class and run out of you, but Harry keeps referring to working with me, but the part of the story he's not telling you is that Swiss Pearl and ADC donated Swiss Pearl and fabrication to our Silver Capline House at Drury. So they're pretty cool guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tracy.
All right, I won't take up a lot of your time. I've just got a few photos to go through, kind of give you, many of you are probably very familiar with us already. A little bit of backstory. Previously, we were known as Love All Custom Sheet Metal. We started out primarily doing installation of metal panels, and a few years ago we kind of reevaluated where we were at as a company and what we wanted to do and where we wanted to be successful in. And that led us to become more manufacturers and not do any installation anymore. So we started looking at some of the higher end materials, higher quality materials, sustainable products, things like that. That's where Swiss Pearl came in, Jarden Zinc, Millennium Forms Stainless, and then we pretty much just tried to make a clean break by creating a new company, Architectural Design Concepts, and then moving forward with manufacturing only. So just to kind of preface it, but as far as pictures go, we can start off with Swiss Pearl, as Harry showed earlier, the MSU Welcome Center. A lot of you are familiar with, and Joplin High School. I should have looked at Harry's stuff, so I didn't duplicate his pictures. MSU Occupational Therapy Building. Let's see, what else do we have? And there's some more here that some more photos we got from Harry. And then that kind of leads us into Prairie Fire Museum, which is the Millennium Forms colored stainless materials. They use, it's a very unique process. They're one of only 2 companies in the world that have this manufacturing process to actually color the stainless steel. And as you can see, they've got some great, very vibrant colors. It's a really cool building to go visit if you're ever up in the Overland Park area. There's a few more photos from them. This project, this Neptune office building, we just completed in Arkansas. And it has Millennium Forms stainless, which is kind of the gray colors, and then off to the right there's some Swiss Pearl material also. So it's a very unique project, a very fun one to be a part of. But it just kind of gives you an idea. Those panels are just a very very simple flat lock tile. So they're a very affordable panel to manufacture and supply. And then the installation is very quick on them. A lot of what we do working with architects and with the installers is, since our background was with installation, we've got the experience and the knowledge to look at it from the standpoint of what's this going to cost to actually get on the building, not only from what the material costs, but manufacturing costs and then installation wise. So we try to take everything into consideration and design the panels that we make and the stuff we supply to make things a little more affordable and a little more seamless. We work very closely with installers. PCI here in town, they actually installed this project for us, and they did the occupational therapy building. But our primary focus is to work with you with the design side to try and get these wonderful products like Swiss Pearl and Millennium Forms and Jarden onto the buildings with a unique look and get them on there affordably, because we're very passionate about the sustainable side of it all, about having the materials that are going to last a long time, that you're not going to have to replace due to color issues in 20 to 25 years because of painting, so to speak.
It also, if I may chime in quick, we all know that this is a perfect example. Unfortunately, not the whole building is Swiss Pearl anymore. I mean, I would love if everything is my product, but it's not the case. But with partners like ADC and George Davis, they can look at your wall design and help you that the subframe doesn't need to change. You can move seamless from one material to another instead of trying to reinvent the wheel and everything. And with those, even if it's maybe a different product that they don't have, we can design and help you with the subframe system, so we have one smooth transition from one material to another, which in the end is going to lower the cost for the whole project as well.
Here's a couple more photos. Same building, just a little bit close up of the panel joints and terminations at the corners and things like that. This is a Jarden Zinc project in Bentonville. Those are vertical standing seam panels. And a lot of you are probably already familiar with the MSSU Field House. Those are also vertical standing seam panels in various widths. And that's pretty much it for me. You know, I definitely, we appreciate all the time you guys have put forth. We've got some business cards up there. Harry's got some on the table and some magazines. Feel free to look at the samples, mock-ups. We'll be around for a little bit.
Yeah, any questions? I mean, we got some mock-ups up here too, which show a concealed system as well, the different materials. So, you know, please come up and look. And any questions from anybody about Swiss Pearl or ADC or George? Oh, must have covered everything. Wonderful. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that you all guys came out, and we'll be around a little bit if anybody has anything. Thank you.
All over here on the table.
It's a great. The tricky part is I was just getting to establish that, you know, those cards. The trick part is there. And then there, you know, you're there. It's a great
So I was curious.
Now he's you were close. Everything else is all
Rick Baldwin still doing the now you're in fundraising.
Yeah, and the maintenance side, more than one. That's the whether you want to or not. Good luck. I'm happy. They're real operating. And it's used the same building and provide it. You're really set to really again the same